we begin. Let's start our second webinar of the Writing Center, which will continue what we started doing last month. So I will start with reminding you first where we stopped, just briefly, because otherwise we wouldn't connect it to what we are doing now, right? And the main idea is the logic of the English syntax and the logic of the English punctuation. Although I would very much appreciate if all of you reflect upon your Russian writing as well. Because if you want to be published, if you want to be, if you want to sound internationally in academic discourse, in the global academic discourse, your Russian should be organized logically, precisely, concisely, briefly, just as in English. Because it's not the difference between the languages. It's the difference in the tradition, and the Russian tradition is bureaucratic, Soviet, and therefore wrong, right? So we need a proper tradition to economize other readers, other scientists' time. So I will move on now to sharing my screen. Now, what we did last time, we organized the English sentence. We used the approach of understanding English as the political system of the United Kingdom. Not America, not Australia or other English-speaking countries. By the way, they pervert English a lot. So that is the subject and verb. That is the king of the sentence, the monarch, right, being more uniform, and the prime minister, the verb. When we play chess, it's an oriental game. Nobody plays with the king. But if there is no king, no subject, there is no sentence. Like in Russian, I can say, "Мне холодно," I'm the subject. I'm cold, right? Ему сказали, he was told, right? But sometimes, холодно сегодня, right? We say, it is cold. It is the subject, although it's an empty throne. But the prime minister is always there because we depend on the verb in whatever we say. And there is, or there might be, the parliament, right? The house of objects and the house of adverbials. And this counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the main idea. If you count up to 6, you never make mistakes, because the house of objects begins and depends on the prime minister, the verb. So I'm reading a paper, right? I'm reading a paper. In the library will be either 5 as place, you see? This will be place, time. So, or I'm reading to my son. So 1, 2, 4. Not all necessarily positions can be present in the sentence, and we don't need them. And most positions are 1, 2, 3, and these are big sentences. Like one reason why the English language has so many words from other languages, subject, is that people from different countries have come to live in Britain. Object, subject, verb, object. A girl entered the room. A very beautiful and intelligent girl I told you about yesterday entered the room, right? We think in clusters, in phrases or clauses. So when we connect them properly, it will be subject, verb, object, and we don't need any punctuation. So it can be time without place. Like, for example, I live in Moscow since I was born, right? Time. And there are also conditions, reasons, and other purposes which take the place of 7 or 8. It depends on how many you can given one sentence. Generally, you economize on positions in the sentence. It cannot include 5 or 6 positions of different sort. It's typically 1 to 3, or 1 to 6, or 1 to 5, 1 to 4, 6, 1 to 7. We were late because of the traffic jams. We, subject, were late, verb, because of the traffic jams, number 7. That's where we were. And the last thing we did was a little bit of practicing. And I'm not going to do it from scratch, but to remind those of you who are present and to involve those of you who are not present into sentence building. There is one position which we discussed specially, the position before the subject. So subject, verb, object in my presentation is blue, red, green, right? Everything went perfectly, subject, verb, object. But on the big day is something that is not the new information in the end, but introducing the whole sentence. Like, according to Marx, capital is this, right? So according to Richard Rose, comma, public policy is a long series of more or less interdependent activities. So in number 2, can you give me a list of who's been invited? Can you give me a list? Can you give a list to me? Would be number 4, prepositional to me. I can say me, a list, right? That is, she showed the photographs to her friends. She showed her friends the photographs. We can say 1, 2, 3, 3, but we cannot say 1, 2, 4, 3. We can never say or write, she gave to him the money, not to him. She gave the money to him as 1, 2, 3, 4. She gave him the money is 1, 2, 3, 3. We don't exchange the positions. We just do without the preposition, right? Of who's been invited is number 4 with a preposition. We can have subjects, objects, and other positions, not only as phrases or clauses, but the central word in the phrase cannot necessarily be a noun. It can be an infinitive, like here. What can be hard? To show your bad sides to others, right? That's what can be hard. Infinitives answer the question, what? I want what? A cup of tea? I want what? To go out, right? Number 4, ing forms can also form subjects and verbs. Look, being able to confide in one another as the subject is an important component of true friendship. 1, 2, 3, waltzing around. We will have a course, we'll have a webinar on the triad principle and on such structures. That is, waltzing your text to success. To argue with the captain was asking for trouble. A rare thing when you have an infinitive as the subject, but it is not defined by another infinitive, but by the ing form. To argue is the very fact. Asking for trouble is already a proof. So this is a joke. This is the humor. Can you switch off the microphone? Somebody's keeping the microphone on, please. Switch off your microphones. Number 6. I took it from what? From what I thought was a shelf. What I thought was a shelf is the object expressed by a clause. Or that Caesar was dead was obvious to all. Here we have the clause as the subject. That Caesar was dead as the subject was obvious to all. How do Russians typically write? It was obvious to all that Caesar was dead. No. What she said was important. Why he left was strange, right? That Caesar was dead was obvious to all. And the last sentence, like to most young people, dressing to look like their friends seems to be the surest way to be accepted. Dressing to look like their friends is the subject. What seems dressing to look, right? So seems to be what? The surest way to be accepted, object, right? To most young people is taken outside the sentence into the preposition to the sentence with a comma. Then we drill those commas, like when it happens, whatever precedes the subject should be punctuated. For centuries, in 2016, as an intern, according to blah, 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 right? Being the largest planet of our solar system, using a variety of techniques, although children's literature was added to the National Book Awards only in 1969, comma, it has had its own, right? This is the beginning of the sentence. We punctuate everything. To be considered for the position or by referring to a simple model of human capital, we can assess is the sentence, by referring precedes the sentence is punctuated. And we learned that ruling the sentence begins with looking for your subject and verb. And when you have found them, respecting the comma before the subject, you will manage to rule the sentence. That's where we stopped. But we now continue. So we'll discuss more complicated punctuation conventions. We will say hello to fanboys. You know who are fans, football fans, right? Fanboys, but this is an abbreviation. It's a mnemonic rule. SVOs, subject, verb, objects, and other assistants to the king. You can see, I tried to draw the picture on my computer, right? And what you can see in the center is the semicolon. It's very important to understand what it is. Точка с запятой или запятая с точкой. So it is actually in both languages, точка с запятой, а не запятая с точкой. Okay? So let us say hello to fanboys. When do we need those fanboys? When we have two independent sentences and want to connect them together. For example, I'm happy and you're happy. We don't say I'm happy, full stop, you're happy, full stop. Writing in such broken, brief sentences is not quite academic because you connect them somehow logically. What is the logic? We are happy together. So I'm happy, comma, to show that my sentence has finished. And he's happy. But we are happy together, so I use and. Look at the red words below. For and nor, but, or, yet, so. Fanboys. Fanboys. This is a mnemonic rule, мнемоническое правило, not to break your heads over memorizing things. Never memorize. We have access to sources. We have the internet. We can Google whatever, especially now. Don't think that education is connected with memorizing things. No, never. It shouldn't be. It was necessary when there was one book for 10 students. When there was one book for 10 students for 100 years. Then, of course, people had to memorize from the Bible, from classical sources, from Aristotle, and seemed to be educated people. Actually, they were. However, look, when do they appear, fanboys? When you have subject, verb, and dependent sentence, and another subject, verb, right? We need fanboys. You know what? everybody who's present here with poor command of English. Everyone who has a good command of English. It's not only that you need fanboys necessarily in connecting sentences, but you need them in Russian. Не бывает такой гадости, как бессоюзное предложение. It perverts the whole logic, because there must be the logical connection. I'm happy and he's happy together. I'm happy, but he's still unhappy. Opposition with but. Look at the examples that follow. So you know perfectly well what and is. It's a plus, or is a slash, but is a minus. She is not British, but American. Right? She is not British American. Sounds strange, right? You need the fanboy. Look, examples about women. Women live longer than men, or they take better care of their health. Comma. The comma here is not before a sentence, before another subject verb. It's a comma dividing two independent sentences. But they need to be connected. Then you need a fanboy to connect them logically. For is one of the trickiest to understand, even for advanced learners of English. But I can explain. A long time ago in Russian, we had the word «ибо». «Ибо» — это не потому что, и не так как. It is not because, it does not explain. For is not because. For is synonymous to and. Look, women live longer than men simply because women live longer than men. Not because they take better care of their health, but they do. But simply they statistically live longer, at least in Europe, right? And in Russia. Look around. So what's the problem? For gives additional information, like moreover. Women will live longer than men, full stop. Moreover, comma, they take better care of their health. You see? So it's moreover is and. Nor, women do not smoke as much as men do, nor do they drink as much alcohol. When you have nor, it is synonymous not to but. It is again synonymous to and. But and no, no and no. I don't smoke, nor do I drink alcohol. I don't smoke and I don't drink alcohol. Right? She doesn't speak Spanish, he doesn't speak English. She doesn't speak Spanish, nor does he speak English. It's and, not but. Both of them, neither of them speaks the language to be understood. So we divide the two sentences with a comma, and after nor, and only after nor, you have to use the auxiliary verb. This is the thing that Russians typically forget. Those, not only Russians, everybody who starts writing or speaking English, you forget that after nor you necessarily need the auxiliary verb. Nor do they drink, not nor they drink, right? I didn't see him yesterday, nor did I see him the day before. See? Nor I didn't know, nor did I see. Yeah? Or is quite clear. Two sentences and a choice. Both men and women should limit the amounts of fat in their diets, or they risk getting heart disease. So, choice. Okay? Women used to be known as the weaker sex, yet in some ways they are stronger than men. Yet is synonymous to but yet has its special meaning. It introduces paradoxical things. Strangely, right? Women used to be known as the weaker sex, yet in some ways they're stronger than men. Yeah? Men are less cautious than women, so more men die in accident. You know what? As it was with for, don't mix it up with because. Before because you will never punctuate. Remember, because will introduce something like number 7. We were late because of the traffic jam. No punctuation before because introduces number 7. It goes in order. Another mistake, so for is different. It can be separate, absolutely. So 2 separate sentences, independent sentences, not dependent, like as I said with because. Because explains the main subject verb. For doesn't. And the last example with so is also often mixed up because you think that so is something like subordinate. It's not subordinate. It's again synonymous to and. I was hungry and I went to the canteen. I was hungry, so I went to the canteen. She was tired, so she went to bed. She was tired and she went to bed. So I said nothing, and I said nothing. You see? It does not explain anything in the previous sentence. It introduces another independent sentence, but in one order only. I can say he is happy and I'm happy and he's happy, but she went to bed and she was tired, so she went to bed. You simply do not replace the positions. Now, if we cannot use fanboys, we cannot add this logic to how the sentences are connected. And it happens in academic English when the first sentence, independent sentence, is big, and the other sentence is big. They have their own punctuation. They have their own fanboys. They have whatever. And you place another one, and the sentence is all like a chain. Then we can have 2 parallel sentences which cannot have fanboys inside, not to overload the reader. Therefore, we use a semicolon. Remember the picture about it? Semicolon, точка, запятой. Then you have a right not to use it. But hardly anybody would write it like this. I'm happy, точка, запятой, he is happy. No, I'm happy and he is happy. I'm happy, but he's not. I was tired, so I went to bed. Let's switch on your microphones. Please switch on your microphones. And let us punctuate the 4 sentences that you can see. Switch on. And when ready, tell me where. Come on. Just
before however, I suppose.
So read the whole sentence, number 1. But pronounce the punctuation, please. Right? For example, comma or semicolon, whatever.
I wanted to travel after I graduated from college, comma, however, I had to go to work immediately.
No, however is not a fanboy.
Okay.
What do you have after college? If there are no fanboys. It's not and, but, or, however is not. Look. It's a semicolon because however is not but. If we had but, we would say, comma, but I had to go to work immediately. No but, no and, no yet. semicolon, however, and however is punctuated because anything before the subject should be punctuated. However, moreover, as I graduated from college, whatever. Number 2, who will do it?
May I try?
Yeah, sure. Just do it.
After I graduated from college, I wanted to travel, but I had to go to work immediately.
So where is the punctuation? I didn't hear any.
After I graduated from college, first is here. I wanted to travel. Then it's here.
What do you place after college?
I think should be a comma.
Sure. And a comma before but.
Exactly.
Why do you have the first comma?
Because after I graduated from college, I'm trying to explain that after I graduated from college.
Nothing to do with college. You know, punctuation doesn't depend on the words at all. It depends on algebra, subject verb. Where is the beginning of the sentence?
Sorry?
Where is the beginning of the sentence? It doesn't depend on college or whatever words. Punctuation depends like algebra, only on the positions. Where does the sentence start? Where is the subject verb?
Basically, it starts from graduation.
It starts with I wanted to travel.
Okay.
After I graduated from college is not a sentence.
Okay.
But something before the subject.
Okay.
Like after I graduated from college, you can drop it out. I wanted to travel is the main sentence.
Exactly.
Why do we have another comma after travel before but?
Because I couldn't travel. It's the next one. It's the next step.
Traveling has nothing to do with punctuation.
Yeah.
It's the fanboys connecting two independent clauses. Okay. I wanted to travel is one sentence. I had to go to work immediately, another independent sentence. They are divided by a comma and connected with fanboys, but don't stick to words at all. Instead of after I graduated from college, I could say in 1969, comma, when my mother drove me out of my house, comma, when my cat bit me on the leg, comma, whatever. It should be punctuated because it's not a sentence. I wanted to travel, or he started working in the company. Doesn't matter which words you use. It's an independent sentence. But, and another independent sentence. So I can give you an absolutely similar structure with absolutely different words. When I returned from home, comma, I decided to go to bed, comma, but my husband came home and prevented me from that. And absolutely similar. You see, you don't explain anything by the words, only by the positions. Number 3, who will do? Where is the first punctuation? Hey, I frightened everybody, didn't I?
So may I wanted to travel after I graduated from college, comma, but I had to go to work immediately, comma, because I had to support my family. Is it right?
Comma is right. But you don't punctuate because it's number 7. It is part of the sentence that stands in its position. Look, I can say you should stay in bed if you are ill. If you are ill is the condition in the end, no punctuation. If you are ill, comma, you should stay in bed because you should stay in bed is the sentence. You should stay in bed if you are ill. The sentence comes in order. Something before the subject, if you are ill, comma, you should stay in bed. When he was walking in the mountains, comma, Henry saw a bear. Or Henry saw a bear when he was walking in the mountains. So here you have one comma before, but I wanted to travel after I graduated from college. I wanted to travel when? When? After I graduated from college. The sentence is in order. We punctuated because I had to go to work is another independent sentence, connected with fanboys but. And no comma before because I had to go to work immediately because I had to support my family. It's here it is really a reason given in the end. Okay? And number 4. Anybody? Where is the comma? Hey!
So I could not decide where I should walk or what I should do, comma. So at first I did nothing.
Absolutely. It's a comma before fanboys, so is one of the fanboys, connecting independent sentences. I could not decide where I should work or what I should do is one sentence. At first I did nothing is another. If you want to punctuate at first, we don't punctuate at first when we connect to independent clauses. Let's have a look at a more complicated list. Ready? I give you some time to look at sentence 1. And then when ready, give me the punctuation. So you will again read the sentence saying comma or semicolon. Okay? Come on. Number 1.
May I start?
Sure.
Information and communication technology, comma, is reaching out to help people in the poorest countries, comma, improve their lives, comma, for example, comma, fishermen on the Bay of Bengal can now receive online weather reports, comma, that tell them when it is safe to go out.
What's your first name?
I'm Gaurav.
Gaurav, you need a good course of punctuation. So there is subject, verb, object, time, whatever. It is never punctuated, even in Russian. So what is the subject in the first sentence? What? Information and communication technology. Verb is reaching out. Why do you have a comma between subject and verb? It's approximately the same as to say, my mama, comma, came home.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So secondly, is reaching out with the purpose of what? To help people in the poorest countries place, improve their lives. This is the end of the sentence, which is independent. And this is the first place you punctuate. But as there are no fanboys, I have just inserted a semicolon. Subject, information and communication technology. Verb is reaching out. Purpose, to help people in the poorest countries improve their lives. But let's have a look further. For example, comes before the subject. The subject will be fisherman on the Bay of Bengal. Verb, can now receive. For example, should be punctuated, right? Yes. Like we
Yes,
have,
yes.
however. Fisherman on the Bay of Bengal, subject, can now receive, verb. What can they receive? Object. Online weather reports that tell them when it is safe to go out. Why do you punctuate? What kind of reports they will have? It's all one sentence. Which reports? That tell them when it is safe to go out. And one little secret for all of you, that can never, ever be punctuated at all. There is never, ever a comma before that. Not because it is a rule. There are no rules in English, only logic. But that defines, gives essential information. For example, the umbrella that she gave me was wet. The umbrella that she gave me is the subject. The umbrella was wet. Which umbrella? The umbrella she gave me. The umbrella that she gave me, or the umbrella which she gave me. In academic English, you will always have one variant for the word который. It will be which forever. That in academic English is never omitted, like the umbrella she gave me. Never. Either the umbrella which she gave me, formally, academically, or the umbrella that she gave me, which is less formal. But they don't use such things, right? And that is used in academic English. When you mean sentences like, now I know that the lunar eclipse happens 3 times a year. Or she told me that she was busy. This, that also cannot be punctuated because she told me what? Subject, verb, object. She told me that she was busy, no punctuation. You see? Do you understand why we don't have any comma before that? And we don't have any comma before when? Because it's all in the right order. Okay? Number 2. Any other volunteers? Although I'm not against, I can work with one student with pleasure. Where is the first punctuation? In the second sentence. You need to see the subject. Where is the subject?
Can I?
Yes.
Furthermore, comma, when the fishermen bring in a boatload of fish.
Comma.
Yes,
Because
comma.
we haven't yet started the sentence.
Yes.
The main sentences they can find out. When they bring is not a sentence. So furthermore, comma, when they bring, comma, now continue. They can.
Так, they can find out the current market prices for the fish, comma, which will help them bargain with the middleman to whom they sell their catch.
Absolutely. You punctuate comma before which, because this which is very important academically. When you want to say that the whole of the information is additional in the end. It is connected to the previous sentence with comma, which. Otherwise, you put a full stop, the alternative will be a full stop, and the big letter T, this. Look, the president changed his position on job training, is enough to say. The president changed his position on job training, comma, which happened within the year. By the way, comma, which. The president changed his position on job training, full stop. This happened within the year. Another sentence with big this. When you read literature in English, you want to be academically literate, pay attention to every comma which and every full stop this, and you will see how they connect sentences. So this is additional information. They find out the current market prices for their fish, that's all. By the way, it will help them bargain with the middlemen to whom they sell their catch. To whom they sell their catch is the necessary information for the middlemen. Number 3. Come on. Where is
So
the
the cost of the cheapest computer is at least $200. I suppose comma, first comma. Yeah.
Comma before employees.
And since this is more than an individual fisherman can afford, second comma. Several fishing villages together can pool their money and buy one to share.
Yes, and the second comma is because what comes before subject verb should be punctuated. Since it is more than an individual fisherman can afford, comma, several fishing villages is the subject that can pool their money. Number 4, thank you very much. I like it better and better. Number 4. A similar structure, by the way. We begin with a sentence, right? Subject verb, the worldwide reach of the internet. Where is the comma?
The worldwide reach of the internet is also providing employment opportunities in developing countries, comma, and as greater number of people learn the technology, comma, these opportunities will expand.
Yeah. And with a comma divides and unites 2 independent sentences, and the second independent sentence contains something before the subject. These opportunities will expand. This is the main sentence. As greater numbers, when greater numbers, if some people, after I graduate, all these are either in the end, then they are not punctuated, or in the beginning, then they are punctuated by all means. Thank you. And number 5.
Can I?
Yes, sure.
When you call your US bank, comma, you may find yourself speaking to a customer service representative, comma, who is sitting in the Philippines or Puerto Rico. comma, and when you need technical support for your home computer, comma, you will probably get help from a programmer in New Delhi.
There was only one mistake. There is no comma before who. So from which service representative? Who is sitting in the Philippines or Puerto Rico or Russia? And when I want to draw your attention because the webinars I'm giving have their logic, right? We begin with very simple things. Subject, verb, object, whatever, not punctuated, never. Anything before the subject, 1 comma, punctuate. Now we have put them all together. That is a semicolon if there is no fanboys, right? A comma before the subject, a comma when there are fanboys. 3 things, right? And here it is a step towards parallelism. There will be a seminar on parallel structures. Look, parallel structures are similarly built things. I can say that I like red oranges, brown sugar, and olive oil. What do I like? Adjective, noun, adjective, noun, adjective, noun. Or I like to chat with my friends, comma, to walk in a park, comma, and to meet new people. You see, to do this, to do that, to do that. Infinitive object, infinitive object, infinitive object. Here you can see 2 parallel sentences. When you call your US bank, and then when you need technical support for your home computer. They begin similarly. Then comes the real sentence. You may find yourself speaking, and there you will probably get help. You will, you may. When you do this, you may. When you need this, you will. Parallel sentences. Therefore, the reader will not be lost, and it is enough to use a comma after Puerto Rico and connect the 2 sentences with fanboys. If the sentences were more complicated and academic, I would recommend avoiding this and putting a semicolon. Then the 2 parallel sentences will sound even more parallel and more divided. You see? When you call your US bank, you might find yourself speaking to a customer service representative who is sitting in the Philippines or Puerto Rico. Semicolon. When you need technical support for your home computer, you will probably get help from a programmer in New Delhi. The division between the 2 sentences will be like a full stop. But the sentence is quite readable because it contains parallel sentences, parallel structures. Now, I will show you how we work with students, with adult professionals, whoever addresses the Writing Center for help, right? Because their texts need editing. Look at this sentence. Do you like the structure of the sentence, or does it need some improvement? Hey, is it grammatically correct? there is at least one punctuation mistake. Where? There are no fanboys. We have the word thus, which is no fanboy. What do we need before thus? A semicolon then. If it was and or but, there would be a comma and no comma after but. But here we have thus, like however, moreover, therefore, for example, as a result, all such words are punctuated before the subject. So actually, look what happens to the sentence. Scholars have argued, if it is an academic text, you need a reference. Who, when, that is, please, Smithson and Jones, 2003, semicolon, Ivanov, comma, 2013, right? Which scholars have argued that tourism can best be described as a double-edged sword. Do you know what is a double-edged sword? You know, students, you don't.
Двухсторонний клинок.
Меч. Меч, sword. If you don't know the word sword, if you are a sociologist, a political scientist, a physicist, nothing happens. So the word sword is not a term. It's a metaphor. And another specialist, another expert reading in English, not being a speaker of English, who definitely knows what sword is, will be lost at this double-edged. What is edge? Double, I understand. Double is two. What is it? I don't know. Обоюдоострый меч in Russian. Обоюдо. Just imagine an Englishman or a French woman or a Japanese woman reading a text in Russian, which is a foreign language for her, and reading suddenly in a text on tourism, обоюдоострый меч. She will have to go to the dictionary with обоюдо, меч. So, secondly, don't use metaphor, avoid metaphors by all means, because we are reading internationally. Scientific texts are not for pleasure. If you are reading Tolkien, you need to know what is a sword. If you are reading some historic literature, yes, but not in academic texts of other disciplines. So if you mention Hamlet somewhere, or Hamlet's father's ghost, are you sure that everybody around the world have read Shakespeare's Hamlet? And they remember that there was the ghost of his father. And as an example, it is sometimes given that people insert it into the title of their book, like The Economy as the ghost of Hamlet's father. Just imagine a person from India, Pakistani, Belarus, reading this. Why Hamlet? What ghost? Yeah, avoid metaphors. So no metaphors, be explicit. There is the comma splice. You have thus. Either you begin the sentence with thus, with the capital letter, or semicolon, thus, semicolon. This kind of mistake is called comma splice. You may skip it. As much as it has positive, too many words. Benefits. Can benefits be negative? Never. Why write positive benefits? Simply benefits, right? It also comes with, no, don't use spoken English. Be explicit. Intended and unintended. That's what I like in this sentence. There are negative consequences which are sometimes intended for the third world and sometimes unintended. They want to help and they spoil everything. Negative consequences are bad when opposed to positive benefits. The author wanted two words to make parallel structures. What is the word? There are benefits and there are drawbacks, right? Look at what we get as a result. The impact of tourism on developing countries, the subject, is commonly defined as contradictory. You know the word contradictory? It's nothing to do with double-edged sword, right? And much shorter, much explicit, and doesn't break the head of the Japanese reader, right? Its benefits being diminished by intended or unintended drawbacks. Benefits are diminished by drawbacks. One word, opposite, right? See how clearer the sentence becomes. How many commas do we have now? One. Begin with the subject. The impact of tourism on developing countries is commonly defined as contradictory. Its benefits being diminished by intended or unintended drawbacks. Such an easy sentence. And I will finish with the following. I always drag this sentence with me from seminar to seminar because it was published by an author who with a degree who teaches academic writing in English. But when she starts writing even in English, to say nothing of Russian, her Russian bureaucratic language of publishing interferes with the simple, explicit language of publication as it is accepted around the world. Look at this sentence. Are you still here, students? Colleagues? So tell me if the sentence is understandable. Yes, no?
Ирина Борисовна, мне кажется, что здесь вот фраза, иными словами, можно говорить об отсутствии свободы выбора в отношении формы представления результатов интеллектуальной деятельности, если я правильно перевела.
Вот перевод как раз только и даст вам возможность,
Да.
коллеги, можем перевести, разобраться в том, что она хотела сказать.
В отношении какой формы представления?
Ну, никак ничего. Так, давайте вернемся вот к чему. Это еще один шаг вперед, куда мы... Это, this sentence is too wordy, first of all. Who is this one? Никакого one не бывает.
Не бывает.
Кое-кто, кто-то, зачем? May speak about. Мы никогда не speak в научном тексте, мы write. Так?
Да, иными словами тоже. Какими иными словами?
Ну, допустим, in other words, соединяется с текстом, это то, что пунктуируется до subject verb. Наплевать. Вот смотрим дальше. One may speak about. Кто такой one? Speak здесь ни при чем, потому что это публикация. Speak можно только ртом. The absence of free choice. Так пошла номинализация бешеная. the presentation of results of intellectual activity in terms of the form. Масса лишних слов, раз, да, коллеги?
Ну да.
А самое главное, номинализация, мертвая номинализация, которая очень сильные корни пустила в Советском Союзе, и мы до сих пор выкорчевать ее не можем. Скажите, пожалуйста, по-английски, что такое, вы можете дать мне глагол под the absence of free choice? Какой глагол под choice? У нас есть глагол? Он как звучит? Не choice, а come on. Глагол от слова choice.
Choose.
Choose. I have the absence of free choice. Значит, I чего? Choose. I can choose или I cannot choose?
I can choose.
Cannot choose. Вот это the absence of free choice, это cannot choose. Да? Кто cannot choose? В предложении вообще не указано. Указано вместо этого какой-то one may speak about. Кто-то cannot choose. Поехали дальше. У нас одно уже появилось здравомыслящее слово, да, cannot choose. In terms of the form of presentation of results of intellectual activity. Что такое results of intellectual activity? Что такое вообще intellectual activity в науке? Одним словом. What do we carry out? Какая такая интеллектуальная деятельность осуществляется нами, как учеными? Мы что делаем? What do we do?
Investigation.
Research.
Research, investigate.
Research, investigate, study. But we are discussing the results. Results are typically of only one thing. Is it study results, investigation results, or research results?
I think research results.
Certainly. It sounds in every year. Research results, research results, research results. We carry out research, we get the results. Research results. So instead of there is of results of intellectual activity, we say research results. The form of presentation. Can presentation be a verb? What is the verb? Present. Present what? Research results. Right? So somebody cannot choose what? How to present research results. Who is this somebody? Who cannot present his or her research results as he wishes. Is it a schoolgirl? Is it a cleaner? Or is it the one who publishes his research results? We need the subject, which is not present here. Hidden by the word the absence of free choice. It's not the absence who is the subject, but the writers. Okay? I can hear a little activity on your behalf, so I will just show you just two variants. Two different sentences, which should be instead of this one. Which one depends on the context of the whole bigger text. Either formal requirements limit the ways of presenting research results, then we are not discussing whose, definitely researchers. In terms of the form of presentation, formal requirements of the journals limit the ways, limit, instead of the absence of free choice, limit the ways of presenting research results, or writers' freedom in presenting their research results is restricted or limited. In the first case, we're discussing those requirements, and probably this sentence should start a paragraph in which those requirements will be exemplified and show how they limit the ways in which research results can be presented. The second sentence is absolutely different in logic. It is about the writers who want to be free in presenting research results. And what happens? Their freedom is restricted. Then we are discussing writers' freedoms in this paragraph, you see. I will stop here. How do I stop sharing? Oh. Okay, like this probably. If I just press escape, maybe it will finish. I see the dark screen, yeah? So, and where do I stop sharing? I stop sharing here, so that you can see me. Now I believe you can see me. Yeah?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. So any questions for now? I can see that there were so many participants, but hardly anybody spoke. I'm very grateful to those who spoke out. Thank you very much for your guess, for your thinking, for your participation. Some other seminars will be in Russian when we come to it. But this one is still, it turns around the English punctuation, which only prompts at how we should punctuate it in Russian. И в конце я хотела бы сказать действительно по-русски. Коллеги, нет разницы между научным синтаксисом английским и русским. Всегда надо начинать с действующего лица или предмета. Что делает что? Не можно сказать, что нельзя, чтобы... Нет. Правительство должно. Да? Аналитик может. Да? Технологии помогают. Subject, verb in Russian, and your sentence will be good, informative. Right? Нельзя писать безличными предложениями. Соединять их надо так, чтобы было минимум пунктуации. Минимум. Вас учили в школе, куда вставляются в русском языке запятые, но вас не учили, сколько их должно быть в одном предложении. Желательно ни одной. Значит, предложение построено правильно. Если появляются запятые, смотрите. Одна перед субъектом, две, значит, мы вставили какую-то дополнительную информацию, и одна в конце, чтобы ввести дополнительную информацию в конце. Например, согласно Выгодскому, запятая, да, там биосфера Земли развивалась таким-то образом. Запятая, дополнительная информация, потому что биосфера развивалась вот так. Человечество, каким бы мы его себе не представляли, две запятые, все равно добьется лучшего. Человечество все равно добьется лучшего. Это предложение. То, что мы вставили, мы две запятые, как скобочки. Или мы можем поставить дополнительную информацию в конце. Через comma which, а по-русски запятая что? То есть там биосфера Земли продолжает развиваться, запятая, что сильно влияет на экологию. Вот. И все. Смотрите, никакой разницы между пунктуацией английской и русской нет, если вы идете по нормальной схеме. Subject, verb, object. Place, time, causes, consequences, reasons. Why not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All the children go to heaven. На этой веселой ноте я бы хотела с вами попрощаться. Если есть вопросы, задавайте. Если нет, ну, встретимся в следующем месяце дальше. Коллеги, ну это не последняя наша встреча, поэтому welcome. Вот, спасибо вам за внимание. Всего вам доброго.
Спасибо, до свидания, хорошего вечера.
До свидания. Да.
Спасибо, до свидания.